and all of a sudden, one's gone, Fall Eagle just come in and grab it, it's gone.
Yeah. It is 8 o'clock. Let's stand and do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have our time for public discussion.
Yes, I'd like to raise a question. Wayne Clay. Tammy, thanks for getting the information. I've had some conversations with Ron Fisher and Tammy. This isn't related to the building on Lantry Street, previously owned by ProBuild, and it's currently under renovation. Roger Fisher is getting me the bids for that and for the spray foam work. My question is to Roger, why is the custodian, being Ron Reaper, going outside of the county to obtain spray foam bids on that building when I'm a certified master contractor applicator doing foam for 42 years? And I'd like to get this out in the open, find out why he couldn't seek out me for a bid for that project and why the money is going to Webster County or Fort Dodge or wherever, or whoever it is. And I'm not sure why Ron Reaper is in the position of even getting the bids. It's not part of his work description, and I'm not sure if he's really capable of obtaining those types of bids. And if he is, I guess I'd like to see his certification. But as a board, I've been here 47 years doing spray foam applications for 42 of those 47 years. And I feel like he has deliberately sidestepped spray seal to do a bid on that building. And I'm not even sure if any of you are even aware of it. I know Tammy wasn't. And Roger certainly isn't at fault. He just had those two, the custodian and the janitor, get the bids. Any of you aware of it? Roger, do you have the bids?
No, I do not. I'll get them to you.
You did not, okay.
I was not until you came in.
Okay.
I was not either.
Are you getting a quality and a code compliant application? You know, I would ask myself, and who's doing the quality control and is it code compliant? I think you're getting a substandard at very best, mediocre, lower level application from what I see. So I'm not sure who recommended it to who, but I'd like to know why the custodian is getting the bids and what his certification is and what the specifications were called for on the application.
Wayne, if I can for just a second,
Yeah.
as Ron's manager, you know, I'm in charge of Ron and Lily. And since I have known both of them, they have always gotten bids for projects. So it might not be in their job description, but as long as I've known, they've always been responsible for getting the bids.
Okay. So that's part of their duties is what you're saying.
Yes, that's how I understand it.
They've gotten bids for everything as long as I've been here. I don't know, Jack. I think,
Oh, yeah, they always, I mean,
I've never had any.
Why hire an architect then for this roof on this building from Mason City? That money goes to Mason City. The roofing
But-
money goes to Mason City. Why not just have Will and Ron do the specifications for this roof right here, building we're in?
Because we were required to have an architect because of the amount that it cost, and we were using ARPA funds, so we had to get an
Okay.
architect.
Now you're using ARPA funds too on that building down there, correct?
Correct. but it's under the $100,000.
Okay, fine, fine. And we don't know what the bids are because we don't have them. You don't have them. You don't have them.
I will get them to
But
you.
you're gonna get them to me, so we'll get transparent on that. So I would think that part of his his description is to maintain a working, effective relationship with employees and the public, and I think he's failed to do that with me in particular, and I'm the public, and I'm a business owner here too. And it's my feeling that he is intentionally sidestepping me. Down at the county fairgrounds, he'll certainly accept my free and donated and work down there. And he certainly knows, and I've done spray foam applications down there. So I would like to know, and it's unfortunate that he's not here today, right now, to face this and respond to it. But I would certainly like to know what his beef is. Is it stemming from that old Chevrolet garage issue and the asbestos related issue over there? If it is, let's get it out in the open and discuss it. Get this cleaned up, because it's not right for me to be here as an established business, employing people and paying lots of taxes every 6 months and being intentionally overlooked. And again, I feel like you're getting a substandard, non-code compliant application down there. And I'm here to make sure that at the finish of the job, that I want to make sure that there's a quality inspection on there and it is code compliant. And I'm not sure your custodian has the ability to handle that and know what is or isn't code compliant. Because he certainly isn't certified. I am a certified, trained project manager and a master applicator through the SPFA. And I've been here 42 years. And I'm pretty sore about this whole subject with Ron Reefer and his ability to put his personal opinions and feelings, subject them to me, and then the board has to face stuff like this. We should be employing and reaching out to the people in Kossuth County to obtain bids. And there's plenty of them in the county that do spray foam. We don't need to be going to Fort Dodge and then getting applications like that. That's my feeling. And I don't feel like he's qualified to be getting these bids. I don't think he knows what code compliant is or isn't. He certainly doesn't know what it is when it came to asbestos over there. And or he put the roof out for bids over there, as I was totally sidestepped and overlooked on that Chevrolet garage roof. You know, the board and the county and him decided to go with a bid. Less product, more money with Steinman. And I'm not here to pick on Steinman because he does a good application. He's installing an old, outdated rubber roofing application. And he paid a lot more money over there than what he should have. And I'm not sure why Amber Garmin took my bid that she accepted and put it in the garbage can. And I'm thinking it stems right from that Chevrolet garage incident. Roger, you were here when that went down. Some of you were, some of you weren't. So Casey, you certainly weren't.
Nope.
But now it's going down, you know, on this, and it'll go down on several others. And it's, again, it's unfortunate that Ron isn't here. You know, I invited him into Roger's office this morning as he came into work. He should have been here to answer some questions.
Be happy to sit with you and Ron and have a conversation outside of the meeting if you would like. I'd be more than happy to set that up.
Okay,
And I'd be happy to be there too. Wayne.
yeah, fine. I accept that.
Okay.
I just thought it needed to come to the board so there's light on it. You know, some of you I know here, some of you I don't. It doesn't matter. I feel like there's a problem. I feel like he's not doing his job and meeting his duties and due diligence. And it certainly isn't doing Kossuth County any good, and or the contractors that have the ability to deliver the services in Kossuth County. Me being one of them.
We have a question for you then.
Yeah,
Did, they accept a bid already?
it's being done right now.
Oh, it is.
So if you'd like to look at the application, I have it on my phone
So
here.
they did accept a bid.
They accepted it and it's in progress right now.
That's correct.
Oh, they're spraying right now.
There,
So was it one bid or two bids? You said bids, was it?
There was two bids taken. The lowest bid was accepted and it was out of Fort Dodge.
Okay, I didn't know it was being done, because if you want to look at the bids, then you want to bid it. We don't do that.
no. It's being done right now.
Okay,
And they're stalled out. You know, they don't have the equipment and they don't have the. I go right through the winter. I have the equipment to do it. I'm a cold weather applicator and you're getting a low quality at very best substandard application down there. And you're certainly not getting it done by master applicators. I don't know what their certification is and I don't know what their specification is on this thing. I don't know what Ron put out there. So, but we certainly could, and I'd welcome a side meeting on that to clear this up.
Are you free this afternoon? Roger?
I can be.
I am not. I have obligations out of county.
Okay.
I'm free until noon.
Okay, how about I get a hold of you?
Yeah.
And
That'd
we
be-
can set something up.
That'd be good. So I'd like to clean the problem up and have it addressed. Okay, thank you for your
Thanks,
time.
Wayne.
Anything else for public discussion?
I set up a meeting like later this morning.
Yeah.
If not, do I have a motion to approve the agenda claims, conservation claims and minutes dated for October 11th, 2022? I have a motion by Casey. Second by Becker. Any discussion on claims? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carried unanimous.
it's already approved.
Roger.
Should be it.
Backside of it, one more. Yeah, nope, flip it open. Okay.
Oh, and we do the signing. Monthly update, Veterans Affairs.
And Dan,
Currently, for the month of September, I was sitting at 1,078 case files. Currently, here in the county. Had 47 calls to the office, 39 messages, and 36 walk-ins. We did do 4 veteran transports to their appointments. Recently checking my status of claims at VA. I have 34 that are currently open. And going through the system, I've got 5 that are pending development in my office. And I've got 5 claims ready for decision and 4 that have been closed out that I need to follow up on. We've got 3 sets of hearing aids that were repaired for veterans. That's about $18,000 for those, just those 3. And we did 1 military funeral honor on this last Saturday at East Lawn. For a veteran. Unfortunately, I lost 3 veterans in 5 days, so I'm developing potential funeral packets and so far as burial benefits and possibly some survivor benefits. The biggest thing right now is with that PACT Act change, there's an open enrollment into VA healthcare for all post 9/11 veterans. So trying to focus on getting them into the VA healthcare system and taking advantage of that. Recently had just completed my fall school. We had about 78 service officers there and 152 or 56 commissioners for 1-day training. The VA is also suspending its financial hardship on debt management collection. With COVID, they had stopped collecting co-pays for medications. Well, then they started up again, and some of the veterans are now looking at a $300-400 bill for medications that they can't pay. So now they're stopping it again. So they should have maybe just continued to maintain that and have some type of continuity there. They did. They're also extending the VA Family Caregiver Program, whereas in general terms, if the veteran's rated high enough and the spouse is providing caregiver type services, those are some additional benefits that the veteran and the family can receive. They're extending some of those opportunities. And then as a result of the fall school, I have completed my minimum CEU requirements for the year thus far. So outside of that, that's really all I've got. Just focusing primarily on getting the changes implemented with the new PACT Act that the president signed and addressing some of those issues that the veterans now want to file claims on. Getting a lot of hypertension, high blood pressure type stuff and coronary artery disease type things. Do have 3 Thailand veterans that have claims in since they opened up the Thailand vets. Do not have anything in the way of radiation or radiation exposure. That's going to be kind of a limited view of veterans anyway, because it's a smaller group, but not dealing with any of that yet. So That's pretty much all I have.
How about that camp?
Camp Lejeune. I continue to get calls on the civil lawsuit side and I refer them to their counsel. But I do have a lot of folks that call regarding that. I have had 2 Marine Corps veterans in my particular case that have chronic kidney cancer that we're looking into and possibly found a claim. Everything now is like direct to a designated lawyer. I was under the impression that since it was a civil lawsuit, that the veterans VA benefits, if they were receiving anything at the time they went to apply for a civil lawsuit, that their benefits would remain unaffected. That is not true. If, for example, a veteran is receiving benefits for kidney cancer as a result of exposure to contaminated water from Camp Lejeune through the VA, and that same veteran then finds counsel and does a civil lawsuit and then gets an award as a result of that. There is a law and it escapes me, but you can't double dip on federal benefits. So for that particular condition, their benefits insofar as the kidney would be affected for any of the other presumptive conditions that they would receive. So more to follow on that, it's the VA is trying to figure out how to implement some of that should that occur. We don't have any legal decisions on that yet. With the absence of the command or the commandant for the Iowa Veterans Home, the Department of Veterans Affairs, we're still kind of waiting for the governor to make an appointment and have that said appointment subsequently approved. But that affects our overall association training program. So we're trying to work with IDVA, getting some of that kind of developed and looked at so that we can prepare for the next year, this coming spring. So some of the bigger pictures. But yeah, lots of stuff on Camp Lejeune. Needless to say, the commercials are still out there. So
Oh, yeah.
that's all I have.
Well, I appreciate last week on the radio
Oh,
that you let everybody know that, don't come to your office. You were gone. That's nice when you do that.
I still have a lot of messages. The 14th, just that one day alone, I had 14 messages. It's probably gonna take me the rest of the week to do my follow-up and callbacks for some of those folks. Because with some of the veterans that passed away, they go to the front of the line in terms of trying to get that stuff taken care of for the families. So,
Okay,
all right.
Thanks,
Dan.
Have a good day.
Donna, we are up to paid time off policy.
Um, This was really just intended to be a discussion. I've got, and I apologize that the email that went out, kind of a unexpected thing with the draft policy. Really just had a draft that the committee, has been meeting this summer. I think you guys have kind of targeted October. I think I indicated that we need to work on it more diligently because it's acceptable.
Okay,
Basically, it's Webster County's plan. Some of the questions I know is significant, and I think there's probably staff here that probably are going to raise some of those same questions. Where's the current rollover? How to address if you're a new employee or a current employee that's exhausted their bank. If we look at the 280 and the 320, that's only about 2 months of leave. And a lot of medical situations require at least that. And then there's the multiple charts. I think really we wanted to have one scale, but there's so much difference. I think it just needs to be at least acknowledged that there are differences between the departments. I probably should say implementation. We can talk about it, but implementing it and getting it done, because
big questions.
I think 2 to 3 months. I've had 2 babies and a knee replacement, and 2 to 3 months, nothing. When you look at the amount of time somebody wants to spend in prenatal care and then with their baby once they're born, and I think it's an unfair amount of time.
My biggest question with it is, with new employees is, right now, currently, we're receiving 12 days off a year for sick time, and then also we're receiving vacation time. So essentially, every year we're getting our vacation time, depending on our years of service, also our sick time. So with this, looking at the charts that are on there, we're not accruing more paid time off, and we're not getting any sick time. So I know how other places do it, if you get PTO, and then you also get sick time. So you have a bank of sick time, you have PTO. So the benefit of that is you have to burn a couple days of PTO before you can use your sick time, but you're accruing both. Right now, what the policy draft shows, the way how I understand it is the employee is losing 12 days every single year of sick time. And it doesn't state in there the policy of, so Steph and I have been here a while, Derek's been here a while, Mark's been here a while. We all have several hundred hours of sick time. Well, what does Caleb Hill, one of our new deputies who has only been here for 6 months, he has, let's just say 80 hours of sick time. Well, if we convert to this, he has no vacation time now, and he only has this bank of 80 hours, but if it doesn't show new employees, you're not really earning anything. You're not having anything in this bank to fall back on.
And I want to clarify, I don't even have 100 hours of leave of sick time because I've had 2 babies and a knee replacement, and I've worked here 14 years. So some people may have 720 hours banked, but some of us actually have medical issues and we actually use the sick time. And to take it away is really showing us that loyalty to you guys doesn't matter. Loyalty to the county doesn't matter. Because that's what we stayed for. We stayed for those years of service. I've been waiting breathlessly almost for my 18th year when I get my 4th week of vacation. Because I like to take my vacation. I like to take time off to spend with my children when they go on field trips. And when you limit it, you take that ability away from me. You take the ability to spend time with my family. And the way that it looks right now is you're significantly limiting that.
Well, this is discussion and you bring up a couple of different points here. We proposed for sick leave to be put into a medical leave bank. So that if you are an employee and you do have a sick leave balance, you'll have also a medical leave bank. This draft does not contain that. Also, you're not getting just vacation as PTO. I think that it's what the regularly scheduled vacation plus 6 days is what PTO is.
But that's only 6 days of extra leave, and we're getting 12 currently.
Right.
So we would get half the time.
And that's true, but you would also be able to use that PTO any way you would like, where sick leave, you only can use it if you're sick. So if you're healthy, if
Or
you're
or
fortunate.
doctor's appointments.
Correct.
If you're sick.
Correct.
So right now is if my kids got sick right now, I can call in, I can use sick pay. I think, what is it, 2 days?
3.
So what you're proposing is that we only get 6 days a year to use for sick time. If there's people in this county that are abusing their sick time, then those people need to be addressed. If you're sick, you're sick. I don't think that it's fair that Steph's got medical issues and Steph goes takes care of those medical issues. I don't think Steph should be limited to only having 6 days a year to take for medical issues. 6 days a year to do appointments. I know that there's numerous employees here in this county that have appointments, and when do people have appointments? Monday through Friday between the hours of 8 and 4 p.m. When do most people in this county leave? Between 8 and 4 p.m. I don't think that it is fair at all to say that you are only given 6 days a year to go get a physical, to go get a wellness check, to go to an eye appointment, to go to a hearing appointment. I mean, those right there are 4 things that several people do on a yearly basis, and now we only get 2 days for if we are sick, if we're not just going to scheduled appointments. I mean, the vacation that we have will be accrued. That's, once again, we talked about as a county. Well, the county's got such great benefits. We got free health insurance. We got PT, we don't have PTO. We have vacation time. We have sick time. We have this bank. We have all these things. And right now, as a culture, we can't find people to work any of these jobs. And then we're gonna now start limiting new employees and everything else by saying you only get 6 days a year, Steph, to go to any medical appointment. You better, and by the way, though, that 18th year, you better make sure to carry over those 5 days, because you better limit those, because now you gotta carry over those 5 days to cover if Lincoln's sick, if Lincoln's gotta go to an appointment. I just don't think that the way how it's written right now and how that draft is, I think is absolutely ridiculous.
Would you like to be part of the committee?
I was never asked to be part of it.
No, it's
I
difficult.
think that this
It's
PTO
difficult,
thing
Jay.
has been like a cloak and dagger behind the doors type.
There are employees that
How many?
have maxed out. I don't have that with.
How many employees are on the committee? How many non?
Their department heads.
Yeah. So there's no employees on the committee,
That's correct. We're looking
Okay,
at it,
so-
but we're looking at, I'm an employee.
but you're not, because you're not impacted by this. You
I
are
will
not
be too.
impacted.
Yeah,
Our department is very.
I will definitely be.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I'm not, I have vacation, I have sick leave.
Yeah, no,
I am an employee.
and that is a struggle, but everybody but elected officials would be.
So, and I think this brings up a good point. Do we even, we talked about this, do we even go further? If we're gonna go further, the board needs to tell us to keep on going further, but if we're not, we don't need to meet anymore.
Yeah.
It takes up time.
It's meant to be a benefit, not a,
But it's not, it's taken away time from us. How is that a
Well,
benefit to us?
There are people that will benefit from it.
Just
There
not
are,
the people who have shown years of loyalty and time and put in our time here.
I think there are employees that have been here for a long time that have a maximum sick leave balance. Again, they're fortunate, they're healthy. This may or may not be.
It's a double sword on both
It
sides.
is.
When you look at the 2 months, I mean, that's why I stated that. New employees, for them to build up that bank, that needs to be worked on, but they would start out, and that's one of our
Right.
recruitment things. We don't have vacation for the year, so that is, so there's both sides of it, and I think it's good that we're having this discussion, because I think we really need to know how further do we go.
Right.
But
We keep on talking about it, and the implementation, like I said, will be significant, and I don't think we have the answers, but keep on talking.
But I understand what you're saying, but still in the first year, now you're only moving to 10 hours, whereas we would get 8 hours of sick
Generally,
leave.
a month.
Yes, but we would have gotten 8 hours of sick leave in the first year.
Right.
And then the second year, we would get our vacation. So how is that really helping
There is less
time?
vacation.
Yeah.
Correct, but
Less
more
time. And
flexibility
If
in
a
that.
person does have a wedding to go to, that they need to take 2 days off, they can't, if a first-year employee has to travel somewhere for a wedding, they may or may not get that time off.
We've all suffered through it.
We've all suffered through that.
Well, a lot of it
And
boils
that's
down
loyalty.
to, department heads too. Whether or not the department head actually wants to work with their employee. For example, there's numerous times where you can get extra hours in and so forth, comp time, whatever. If you have something that you want to go to and there's plenty of work to do, I think that it boils down to department head on having some common sense. It's if we hired a new deputy right now and they were assigned, they said that they were gonna be in Steph's wedding in Mexico in 4 months. And they needed 3 days off, but that was their scheduled time to work. I think that it would be very realistic for a department head to have the understanding that this isn't just a weekend getaway to go party. It's a wedding that you were asked to be in, usually usually a year or so in advance. So I think that's a horrible argument because it boils down to department heads having some common sense and working with their employee.
Well, one department head may make a decision to do it one way, and one department head may make a decision to do it another way, and that does cause problems because the employee that was treated one way is brought up as an example by the employee that's treated a different way. So that causes problems as well from an administrative point. Not treating employees that are in different departments differently is brought up a lot in the secondary road department. In fact, it just had a exit interview with an employee. Donna, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but he's brought up a lot of what he thought was unfair between the road department and the courthouse. So as an administrator, that happened.
So none of you see any benefit in it.
I want to see a policy that rewards us for our years of service and doesn't say you need 5 days before you get to use your bank for a single illness and actually rewards us for our years of loyalty. And takes into consideration that you do have women working for you that do have needs beyond just, I mean, taking care and looking after your baby after it's born is a significant thing. Our employees are getting older, so you're gonna be replacing them with younger people. And eventually this is gonna be a big problem for the women that work in this county.
I agree with her, 100%. I think we need to go back to the drawing board. And maybe have on the committee more employees, plus department heads, people that have had PTO in previous employers, just an idea. That have a background. I have a staff member that weighed in on it and saw some flaws as well. So that's just my opinion.
And I will say, I don't know if, I mean, going off Webster County's policy is one thing, but I know there's some people down there that talk very good about it, and there's also others that are very, very much against it. They have a lot of employees that are not satisfied right now. So I don't know if that should be our model.
We looked at many models, so I think that's the whole thing. We could look forever, but we need to understand how much further we need to even look at
Well,
this.
we
That's
as,
what I
we
want.
as a board need to give some direction to the committee on whether they should do any more work on it or just can it. That's where we're at.
You look at models, and quite honestly, I'll admit, we looked at it, but it's all fuzzy to me. I mean, because you look at it and it's kind of overwhelming. And everybody's gonna see it differently.
Better. Still have to have people come to work. We have to have a policy.
Well, I guess my suggestion would either be to maybe to put some employees on the committee or just drop it and just continue the way we're doing it.
Personally, I think at this point, that is probably just stay with the status quo.
Yeah. But we're too late to put employees on it because we got negotiations coming up in October, correct?
Well, and that's the other piece of the equation with the negotiations and unions and stuff. I would almost say just leave it as it is for now.
We make a decision. Do we have a decision on the PTO policy?
I would make a motion to leave it as it is, not do PTO.
I have a motion by Mr. Stecker to leave it as it is and not do PTO. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a second by Loss. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Do a roll call vote, please.
Stecker,
Yes.
Casey,
Yes.
Lock.
Yes.
Plath,
Yes.
Jerk.
Yes. One less thing to do.
For your time.
Yes, thank you.
And I thank the committee for doing, I know you spent a lot of hours on it. And,
Donna, how are we coming on the? Huh? They don't wanna. Do you feel bad now, Donna?
No, I don't.
Oh, mental health advocate.
Okay, and again, this is more just discussion and direction. Our mental health advocate has resigned. We have posted that position. We have received zero interest in that. It is a code requirement that we have someone.
But we are looking.
We are looking. Oh, no, we are looking.
Yeah.
But I just want you to be aware that
Um,
we can continue to look.
wait a month and try advertising one more time. That would be my suggestion, and then you wanna reach out to any of the neighboring counties to see if they have one that would like to fill in at some point. We need it,
That's what your wish is. We can definitely look at that. I know that Abby had done it from O'Brien County. She said on a temporary basis, she wasn't willing to, but we can search the surrounding counties also.
Donnie, you got any good suggestions?
well, I know me and Don, and I've talked to Bill Jenslow too from Winnebago County, and I think would be willing to come down and do it. I think she would have the time to do it, just whether she never applied for the job.
Yeah, I thought maybe she might apply, but she has not either time.
Do you wanna reach out to her, or one of you?
Yeah, I would reach out to Bill Jenslow and just.
Yeah.
Okay,
See what
Yeah,
Bill has
that
to
would
say.
probably require like a 2080 agreement.
Right.
Right.
That too, so I mean, that's a whole other. My druthers would be to have somebody here, because
Right.
we have shipped all of our workers away.
Mhm. We'll continue to look and try to fill it in best we can.
maybe I'll stop over down and talk to you, and we can talk about some more, maybe call up there, whatever we wanna do.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda. Approve the quarterly reports from the auditor, recorder, sheriff, and veterans affairs. Oh, no, we gotta go up one more, sorry. Discussion clarity on rules regarding turning a recorder device off during breaks.
Yeah, I asked that to put back on again because we made some rules last week and they were broken immediately. So I just wanted to clarify whether people are gonna abide by the rule of law in this, that we make set here, or if it's what's the sense of making any rules?
Well, I guess last time, well, first off, there's no one else in the room, so I didn't really worry about it. But at the same time, we talked about when there's county business being discussed, it could or should be on. And soon as you guys came back from break, you're asking me about the recording, so I guess we had that on the agenda previously. And then we start talking about county business during break, so. What's gonna be the clarification on what's part of the meeting and what's not?
When did we talk business?
Well, I know Doug, Todd, I mean, this has been taken to court and we've gone over this. I bet this is the 10th time I've heard this same argument. Oh, you can't go out for dinner as a group because if you talk about anything, you're breaking the law. And I know it's been taken to court time and time again, and you're allowed to go out as a group. And if you can talk about stuff, but the rule is you can't make any decisions. That was the underlying rule that the courts made, that as a 5 supervisors you can go out for dinner, or you can talk about stuff, but you just can't make any decisions. If you're making a decision, then you're breaking the law.
Well, I think it's a little broader than that. I mean, you can't discuss business that's part of that's not considered ministerial. I mean, that's the point. I mean, this is, to be honest with you, this is getting kind of ridiculous. I mean, I quite frankly, would look at it, leave the damn thing on all day long and don't talk about anything in here unless it's business. I mean, you guys, you have your breaks, you can just discuss your personal items there. I don't know why Kyle is even insisting on recording it. Here's the situation that I think you need to be aware of. Not only is this individual liability, it's potentially county liability. And so when that is a potential, I get a little bit upset when, these things are being discussed. And so, what's the purpose of it? If you're discussing business, then yes, it should be on. It's a no-brainer. But I don't know why there's, a desire to record things that are outside of county business. And quite frankly, if you're not part of the conversation, you're potentially, exposing yourself in that situation. I'm just confused, as to why this is an issue. And it irritates me.
Well, the issue is that there was it was put out on social media, and there was private business talked about selling a tractor and different things of that nature and how much they got for a tractor, and that was all put out there on social media. It had nothing to do with running the county business. It was private, personal. Maybe he didn't want anybody to know what he got for his tractor. Nobody needed to know that.
Yeah, and like I said, we gotta move forward, okay? But what I'm saying is that if you know that it's something that's going to be recording, then, don't discuss those things in the board. Right?
And that pretty much goes to the point of recording it, because there's been things discussed that have been.
And that's understood. And I'm not criticizing anything. I don't want to look to the past here. I want to see where we can go, because it's turning into a situation where it's potentially also affecting, what you do as a board for the better of the county. I mean, what I would suggest then is you look at it from the standpoint of, when you're in this room, discuss county business. In your breaks or whatever, don't discuss county business, discuss your personal things, the items that you want to discuss as a group, as fellow supervisors, and just leave it at that. Then it doesn't matter if it's on. But I can tell you that if I come in for a closed meeting, it better be on, right? I mean, that's the law.
And I'm not disagreeing with that.
Tammy is responsible for recording that only, and that's a protected recording. But, I think it's turning into, kind of a ridiculous situation that we're constantly discussing this, because there are so many different things out there that you need to be conscious of. And so I'm narrowing it down to kind of a broad scope. Just be careful what you're doing with that, because that potentially exposes, in multiple senses, liability, not only individual liability, which I think every one of you should be concerned about, but, also potentially county liability, putting taxpayers, at risk because of situations like that. Yeah, that may be a limited situation, but you have to be aware of it when you're doing it, okay? Because you guys sitting up there on that bench are county supervisors. You're acting as a representative of the county government. So, you have to be conscious of that fact when you're doing things up there. So, I just want to make that clear. But, also looking at it from the fact that if I'm concerned about that, if I'm concerned that someone is recording me, I'm not going to share information that's sensitive. Okay. And I think everyone, regardless of where you are, given the ability for this thing to be on at any time, the cell phone to be on at any time recording, should be aware of that. Okay. That's That's just a possibility because I was a one-party state. And so only one person to the conversation who is part of the conversation. If I leave my cell phone in here after I leave, or if I put it in your car, or if I do something, that's illegal. I cannot do that. But if I'm part of the conversation and discussing with you something, it can be recorded. And so, you know, there are potential issues with what you can do with that recording, okay? But just know for the fact that that can be recorded. So be aware of that. If that's a possibility, if you're not comfortable with that, then don't discuss, you know, private stuff. You know, I know in the past have had, just as you mentioned, conversations about just general stuff in your lives. I mean, that's what people do when they get together, right? As human beings, we get together. That's not county business. You know, if that is a concern, then don't do it. Just, you know, sit quietly or show up later and at the time of the meeting and discuss county business. I think that resolves all of this. And that would be my direction.
I understand it, but the thing is, okay, you're out in public and somebody comes up and says, hey, I see on the agenda that you're gonna talk about, levies. So we're supposed to sit there and say, oh, I can't talk to you. You gotta come to the board meeting because I'm not allowed to
You
talk
can
to you
talk
about
to
it.
them about levy because you're a sole supervisor and you should. You should do your independent evaluation and investigation. You should talk to people. The problem is when you get 3 or more of you together, right?
Right, but
Okay,
that, again,
that's
again,
when you have to be
yes, and I
cautious.
understand, and I've been through this 10
I
times.
understand.
We're human beings, and it was ruled that you're still allowed to go out and socialize. And you can
Yes.
talk about county stuff, but you can't make any votes or any decisions. But it was put to me more than once over the years by you and some other attorneys
No.
that you're allowed to
No.
talk, you can talk
Don't go
about,
into that
okay.
because we've never had a discussion. I said you can talk about ministerial stuff. That's in the law. I never said you could discuss county business that's on the table to be discussed openly. And
well, the way it was put to me is that it was run to the courts and the courts ruled that you cannot make any decision. You're allowed to talk about stuff. You're human beings and you're board members, yes, but I mean, you're allowed to talk about it. You cannot put anything to a vote or make a decision.
Jack, did you go through the PowerPoint on the, is it IPIP's board or, do I have the name correct there, Todd? They have a PowerPoint about the open meeting clause.
I did.
Yeah.
Out of public information.
Did you go through that when we were all supposed to?
If I did, I don't remember. I just know that over the years, we've been called on the carpet several times by people because we went out for dinner and we were seen and we even had people come in, take a picture. The supervisors are sitting there having dinner. Oh my, look at that. They're all out there together.
And that is fine. It is not an open meeting just because 3 or more of you are together. It's the discussion. If you're discussing tractors, if you're discussing farming, if you're discussing those types of things, you're completely fine. You know, if you're discussing purely ministerial things, that's fine. It's when you start discussing business that is considered county business, that's where the problem lies. And so in that situation, that discussion needs to be in here. Okay? Discussion needs to be in here. Decision needs to be in here. But, you know, yeah, I understand that that's been, and normally that's a situation where people think, but they realize that, yeah, we're all human. We can go down, we can all go out to lunch together and everything will be fine. It's just you have to limit the conversation to just everyday stuff, not county business. That's the point. And if you're doing that, you're fine, absolutely. So the reality is that sitting in here doing that, it's in this open setting, but that's not considered open meeting. I think you brought up the fact that discussions happen before the meeting about stuff that doesn't involve the county at all, you know, personal live stuff, personal things that you want to discuss, and that's fine. That's not part of the meeting. That's why it happens before and you haven't opened up the meeting. So in that situation, you're covered, you're fine. And it is private and, you know, it can be private. And, you know, quite frankly, And to be honest with you, I'd be a little bit upset too if someone recorded a conversation with me involving sensitive stuff or stuff that I would consider, and should be considered by most as private, to therefore have that recorded and then displayed. I mean, that would make me upset. But the point of it is that, and, you know, looking at what Kyle's saying, if you're discussing county business, yeah, we need to be transparent. Absolutely, 100%. And so discussions and your positions and your views on county business should be done in this room and is subject to recording. It should be broadcast, because in that situation, everybody out there who can't come on Tuesday morning, which is probably the majority of people, given the lack of attendance, obviously, they would be able to view that and see that.
Well,
And I think that should be welcome.
and one of the more common things is we review the bills.
And that's what Roger brought up the last time.
Okay, and then we ask Tammy to go get well, we have a question, so we'll say, hey, we got a question on this.
And that should be completely fine. And why would that not want to be recorded? I don't see any reason why.
Yeah,
that can't be recorded.
what's there to hide on that?
I
No
don't,
one
because
cares.
that's county business.
But it's county business.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're saying we can't even ask Tammy to, we can't even look at the bills or talk.
He's saying we can listen to the bills, but then he's allowed to turn the tape on.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't, I mean, in that situation where you're discussing bills and claims, even though Tammy leaves the room and comes back, I mean, that's something that maybe someone out there might be interested in. Maybe they have some interest in the claim you're discussing. Why not put that on the tape? I don't see anything wrong with that. Because the question last time by Mr. Jarks was, when do we start it? At the Pledge of Allegiance? Well, if that's when you're starting your business, great. If you start, hey, because I think the subject was that if we did the claims after the Pledge of Allegiance, that would extend the meeting.
By 10 minutes,
Understood.
so I'd say from now on, 8 o'clock, we can talk whatever we want, private, 8 o'clock, we know. Until we say the Pledge of Allegiance, if we have a question on the claim, so the meeting takes 5 to 10 minutes longer, we talk about the claims after it's over.
And I think there needs to be, to a certain extent, some respect for that too. And so in a situation where you're all in there just, chatting about what happened the weekend before, or how crops are doing, or those types of things, general information, personal information, that's not considered an open meeting. I think Kyle should respect that and say, okay, no, but once you start to the business that is going to be important to the county residents, I think then you start it, whenever that is.
Well, then
But I
let us
think there
know.
can be an open discussion. I think you guys need to kind of realize that, and everybody should realize that looking at government now, there's a lot of butting heads and nothing can get done when that happens. So if everybody would just be more respectful to one another and say, look, okay, we're gonna start claims, hit the recorder, okay? And then it's on. Prior to that, why would you want to record that? Unless you start talking about county business, but in that situation, there should be hope. Hey, everybody should want that to be something that the public can see if that's what you're going to be discussing. I know I would. And so in that situation, say, all right, let's just get into the county business, start with claims, start it up. And now you have 2 here. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's something that Kyle's in control because that's his owl, whatever. But I think there should be some open communication between the 5.
All I ask is, cause he's taking my private stuff that day, which is nobody's business but my own, except I'm talking to these people.
Mhm.
If you're gonna turn that doggone thing on, say, hey, owl's on, guys. He don't tell us. He just turns it on. He don't tell us nothing. Just
And I
tell
think-
us the owl is on, and then if I don't want people to know what I'm talking about,
Okay.
I'm
And I
done.
think that's respectful. I mean, that's being a respectable person saying, hey, I'm a member of this group. I want to make sure that everybody knows I'm putting it on now. And then you all know. Right?
That's all
And
I ask. Let us know when
I
it's on.
respectfully asked to turn it off when he said break. And I says, is that on? Yeah, he says it's on. Well, turn it off. I don't have to.
Well, and then you know it's on there, right?
Yeah, but I asked him to turn, I said, we just passed a law in here. You're already going against,
Regarding these.
well, any
We passed
report.
regarding these, we didn't discuss the private one. Right?
Right.
Am I mistaken in that? That's what I heard.
I take it like you.
Yeah, and personally, looking at it, and again, I'm just speaking from my position here. If I'm out in public, and right now, I know this is recorded, okay? I know this is recorded. I'm not gonna share with you my last doctor visit. Okay? I know it's recorded. So if you know it's recording, then you're aware. And if you say something, you consent to it. So looking at it from that standpoint, my thought is that the only thing you need to know is when that's on.
Yes, I like to know when things on.
Well,
Yeah,
and I've clarified that before. I said with the light, with the eyes lit up, it's in use.
Well, but Kyle, I can't even tell if the eyes are lit up from here. And so, I mean, you just say, hey, I'm gonna hit the recording now, okay? And then, if it's a situation where, there's non-county business that's going to be discussed, you just say, okay, I'll turn it off now.
Well, I think, actually, Todd, we're gonna have a light
For
that
ours.
lights
that's-
up
But
that
that's
says,
Yes.
right, well, we'll use it for Kyle's too. We have a switch over there, and if I see that light on, we'll just hit the switch and there'll be, I just do it for members of the public to come in here.
Right.
I think they should know they're being recorded.
How you gonna shut this off?
Do we have two of them or is it just one?
There's gonna be two.
We,
So we'll just hit the switch whenever you're.
Right. And so I think now,
That's
just
solid.
going forward, to put this to bed,
Turn this on.
Yeah.
everybody understand that, a little bit of respect towards your fellow board members all the way around, would be going a long way to say, hey, I'm gonna put the recording on. And if the recording's on, then you're being recorded. And if you want to discuss something that happened personally, that you can discuss in the break room or whatever, or prior to the meeting, as long as you're aware of that, I think it's gonna solve the problem.
Right, and we can't control what somebody else does.
Well, yeah, because you can't control what the paper does or the radio does.
We are, he set it up here, so we can turn it off.
But in the past, it has.
No.
But we asked him, we told him what our new, rules were, and he says, yeah, just turn it off and you go and break.
Just work together, gentlemen, just work together. And, in that situation, I don't think you're gonna have any problems.
Oh, I'm with you. Let's put it to bed and get over it.
Let's hope so.
I'm tired of talking about it.
That's fine.
Yeah, thank you much, Doc.
Thanks, Todd.
Sorry, it's my elevated voice, but
No,
it's.
Oh, that's fine.
Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it.
Take care.
We have quarterly reports from the sheriff, auditor, recorder, and Veterans Affairs. Everybody had a chance to look at them in your iPad.
the only one he wouldn't have is Veterans Affairs because Dan was gone, so he just brought this one.
He just brought this one.
The other ones.
We'll pass it down before we start signing it. Anybody have any questions on any of the reports?
I'd move we approve the quarter reports.
I have a motion to approve the quarterly reports. Do I have a second?
Chance to look it up.
I haven't looked at this yet. I would second it.
I have a second. Any discussion on any of the quarterly reports? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
The sheriff has two.
Sheriff has two different ones. They got one. The auditor has made transfers of $102,483.22 from general basic to secondary roads and $810,600.70 from rural basic to secondary roads. Any questions? If not, let the record show that we acknowledge the transfers. Next on the agenda is a cost allocation plan for FY 2022 and authorize the chairman to sign the certificate form. Any questions? Hearing none, does somebody want to make a motion to authorize?
So moved.
You wanna come back up?
Do I have a second? I think Mr. Stecker made the motion.
Yeah.
Again, do I have a second to authorize the chair to sign the certificate? We need a motion. Second.
Second.
Plath makes a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried unanimous. Doug's on the way.
Yep.
I had a tractor going 4 mile an hour yesterday, pulling a wagon.
Yeah.
Oh, bad out there. We need some rain.
Yes, we do.
Couple people calling me. I said, right by my farm. It's the same way. I can't do nothing about it.
No,
He graded that one day. It was so smooth. Everybody's driving by on semis, 2 hours. You couldn't tell he graded it. Right back.
Yeah, I had called last week sometime about like shoulders on the roads with wagons and heavy equipment. Obviously, probably mostly farm equipment going off the shoulders. There's areas I've seen it's getting beat down from different places.
wait for Doug.
They run down there with the blacktop and they got a list. They got about 10 inch length. Wouldn't be good for the sidewalls.
They done with they're done with the South Road, right?
I went down out to Kossuth yesterday. I know from Johnny Besh's corner to whatchamacallit, that's all done except for no shoulders yet. It's nice and smooth.
Good morning again,
Oh,
everyone.
wait a second for
Yeah, no, that's
auditor to come
fine.
back.
Toughest part about PTO is gonna be selling it. There's gonna be people that
There's gonna
think
be,
it's the greatest thing in the world, and there's people that are gonna think it's the worst thing in the world, so I'm not a salesman.
if they don't think it's a benefit, because I think it's a benefit.
Well, I personally think that if you, for my situation,
Yeah, it'd be a benefit. I
I would end up having more time off,
think most of your employees would consider it to be a benefit.
so that's my own opinion, but, there are people that,
So you're saying that because you get a day that you can use for anything instead of only for.
yeah, if fortunately I'm healthy.
Right.
You know, fortunately, and I haven't had
No problem.
issues with my body that I need time off or anything like that. That's the whole. Might be 50-50, might be 60-40. I don't know what the percentage is.
But then what do you do if that changes in 5 years or something?
What's that? Well,
You don't know.
I wanna talk it over with Donna, to be honest with you. Try to put our notes all together so that in 5 years.
Well, I mean with your health or anyone's.
Oh, yeah.
If-
You don't know what your health's gonna
If you
be.
go the opposite direction, then you're gonna want it the other.
But we do have, we've had
Choice.
We've had people that have been sick, terminally ill. And we have catastrophic leave. They use up all of their leave time and we're able to cover that, fortunately.
You still do it that if I have extra vacation, I can give it to somebody? If they're sick like
For
catastrophic?
catastrophic leave, absolutely.
You still have that?
Yeah, you
Okay.
can donate. You don't even have to have extra vacation. You can, if a person choose, you gotta have a balance.
Yeah.
But it isn't like you're gonna be necessarily losing it next month if you don't use it, but. Yeah,
Well, I think in the past, we've been very fair with employees who have had catastrophic
I-
illnesses.
I would agree with that statement very much. We
We,
had situations where, and thankfully that we could do that.
right,
Very thankful, and I think the families that are benefiting from that are very thankful as well. So,
we are up to secondary road. Approval of equipment purchase.
yes, I took, or I sent requests for quotes to 4 separate dealers. Boyer Trucks out of Sioux Falls, Truck Country out of Decorah, Truck Center Companies out of Fairmont, Truck Center Companies out of Des Moines. The reason I sent it to Fairmont is that salesman asked me to do that. And Truck Center Companies are usually the ones that end up bidding that, for that. I received, the quotes were for 6 Western Star truck chassis and 2 Western Star semi-tractors. I received quotes for the truck chassis from Boyer Trucks. Truck Country does not have, they do not have the ability to order any more trucks. What I'm understanding is these dealers are given so many trucks that they can order. And if they can order them, they will. If they can't, they just can't do it. Decorah, Truck Country out of Decorah, we're able to bid the semi-tractors. Boyer Trucks out of Sioux Falls, they, bid these 6 trucks for $876,480. Total, that's $146,080. And, the quotes, they would go on quotes for the 2 semi-tractors. And that was $259,520 and that would be $129,760. The Truck Country of Decorah, they bid it at $301,925. I reviewed the trucks that were quoted. They met the specs that
Same truck.
I put on it, yes. So,
None of them have oyster box.
no, the truck chassis would still need
You're gonna put new boxes on them or used boxes?
new,
New and hoist,
yes.
both new.
Hoist and front snowplow. We're gonna
You're
try
not
to
gonna
get
put
these.
underbelly blades.
We're not gonna put underbellies and we're not gonna put wings. We found that the guys are not, there's a lot of guys that are not putting wings on their trucks. So if guys that have trucks and they wanna use wings, we'll rotate some trucks around so that they can. But these trucks are just gonna have front plows on them right now.
I think that's an excellent idea to keep the weight off of them, because then you can haul more anyhow.
We can, and also we'll get them into our fleet quicker.
Right.
Instead of having to put the additional snowplow.
You still got some belly ones though?
We do, oh, yes,
So if you get a road that's ugly, you just send that truck out and do the belly on it?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we might have to, when we get these in service, we might have to place some trucks differently, but. well,
If you have one in a shop, wouldn't that be probably enough?
Yes, that's kind of what we originally wanted. These will also have sanders on.
They will.
These trucks would have sanders on them, so they'd be able to sand
You just gonna use your old sanders or get those?
new.
So then the trucks you're replacing, you're just gonna put them out for bid?
Yes. We have some trucks that are. We have one that's really out of service right now, however, it doesn't have any snow equipment on it at all. But between frames, engines, we have some trucks that are,
So they're coming with Detroit's.
yes.
How many hours do you run on them?
Pardon me,
How many hours do you normally run on them?
I look at miles, I guess, we've got over 400,000.
I guess, I'm used to tractors now, it's all
Yeah.
hours. It's not
Well, they
miles.
have hour meters on them also, the newer ones do. But, yeah, the 400 on a small cat. Some of the bigger cats are getting a 500,000, which the bigger cat engine should run a little bit longer.
Too bad they can't get cat engines in here.
When they went to, they did not,
Go to the emission
they
controls,
didn't
I
want the
know.
emissions, yeah, they tried to, International tried to do that too, they tried to, instead of going with DEF, and I don't know what happened,
All those regenerators,
yeah.
they were junk.
Yeah, I mean, instead of going to the DEF, they went.
Yeah, they went to regenerators.
At tier 4, no one solved it anyway without the fluid. Exhaust fluid.
Since we had discussion before the motion, is there anybody like to make a motion to approve the purchase, and then we'll have some more discussion?
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Plath. I'll second Mr. Plath's motion.
I have two motions in there, one for the
Trucks,
truck chassis and one for the semis.
which one did you want a motion, Jack?
First one is the Western Star Trucks chassis.
That's fine. I
For the
just
truck
wanted to make sure
chassis?
that
Okay.
we're all on the same page on that.
Right. Now, do we have any discussion on the truck chassis?
I know these would be the specs you put out and fit in with the rest of the fleet and stuff, but, and I know you got sent both up to 4 different places, so I don't have an issue with that, but I would like to see other brands or stuff across in the future for options to compare. Like, I know other counties use Max and stuff like that.
That'll take a lot of research on my part. And I don't know the switches with the blunt ends. These trucks are made that way. I really honestly don't know Peterbilt, Mack, which, what if all the options are even available, with the wiring, the switching.
Switches for the blades and stuff or what?
Yeah,
Switches.
that all runs to the back of the cab so that when you start doing your wiring, it's all there. Rewiring, I really don't know. But you end up comparing apples and oranges.
There's some advantage to keeping the fleet all the same so that your mechanics can get
When they're, when they're
simulated with it and know how to fix it too.
back to some Mack engines, whether they want Mack oil, different things like that, where it runs into a problem keeping inventories, ordering parts, fluids, familiarity with what is going on. So unification is good and it helps us out quite a bit.
Well, these are sticker auto.
These are automatic. The truck chassis are automatics. The semi tractors are manuals.
Do we have any of the old Sterlings left?
Oh, yeah, we have a few Sterlings. We ordered a bunch of Sterlings, I think they're 2007 prior to any of the tier going in, so.
They all got the big cat engines in.
Yes, they do, yeah.
I don't hear anybody complain about those. Other than they
No,
got a lot of miles on them, but
yeah. We have a fleet, we have a good fleet. However, we have some, it's getting age on it, and we haven't replaced things, with this economy and, everything that has contributed to that. It's made it difficult to purchase.
was this bid close to what you thought it was gonna be?
Surprisingly, it was a little bit lower. Our last ones were right around 130. I thought it was gonna be 150, 160. So I was pleasantly surprised, to be honest with you.
So you get county discount?
Government discount,
Government discount.
definitely, yes. Yeah, I think these trucks, if you were gonna go get this chassis, it'd probably be 250, 260, brand new. Yes.
Well, wow, that's a big savings.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimous. Next, we have a motion for the Western Star semi tractors.
So moved.
I have a motion from Mr. Casey. I have a second from Mr.
I'll
Law.
second it.
Any discussion on the semi tractors?
So are you replacing semis or are you just adding?
We have a couple of semis that, one in particular is older. And then we have another semi. The oldest semi's got a lot of miles on it. The second to oldest was a Cat Tier 3 engine, and that engine, we don't have a lot of faith in it. If we had to take a piece of machinery somewhere, we would not haul with it. We try to keep it within the county in case it breaks down. These tractors get used a lot for the areas where they're not near the gravel pits, gravel sources. Also, we're using them a lot when we have to haul from a quarry to haul roadstone or something like that for stockpile.
Okay.
We're using these more and more. It just seems
Now, with your straight truck and your pup, you have more than you give that semi?
for me.
That straight truck and pup, does that haul more than the semi?
No,
It does.
maybe 1 or 2 ton more in the semi.
Oh, I'd say the straight truck. would haul
Yeah,
more.
So you can haul
24
80,000 in a semi,
25.
70 with it.
You can haul both of them. I think 80,000 is the max for everything. But the truck and the pump, I think, weigh a little bit more than a semi tractor and trailer. So that difference, empty is what you can haul more.
Now, you gonna keep one of those semis for a chase truck up to the or the transfer station or not?
We have one up there right now that seems to be working. We'll certainly evaluate it. That's another one that every now and then, with the trailer situation that we have at the transfer station, every now and then a truck will end up hauling it. One of our secondary road trucks will haul something that needs to be maintained up in Minneapolis. So that takes a day out too, so. We'll use our equipment, but, both of these are third quarter 2023. So we're looking at a year from now to get them delivered. Something that is needed.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0.
Very good, thank you.
Discussion on right away.
There's one road, it's in your
Yep.
Folder, a bridge project started up on, it'd be the west line of 11 Lincoln Township. So this is a resolution to close the road, formal resolution, similar to other situations.
Still got the same one down. I have a resolution number 10/18/22/01 to close the road. And that's at 230th and
230 Avenue
440,
between 440th and 450th Street.
and it'll be closed for how long?
They're hoping to pour the deck yet this fall, so,
They are.
yeah.
Is that an old plank bridge?
It's a steel I-beam with
Right.
wood plank on it, yes,
That's-
it's posted.
Yeah. As I remember. Yep. So I have a resolution 10/18/22/01. Do I have a motion to approve? Motion by Stecker. Seconded by. I'll second it. Do a roll call vote.
Stecker,
Yes.
Casey,
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Plath,
Yes.
Jerks.
Yes.
Sam, if you would sign that, and then Roger, if you'd sign it, please.
Takes the checks on.
Sure.
All right, thank you.
That's about the last of the timber bridges up north.
Oh, there's a couple more up there. Over some drainage ditches and all.
Your repair.
First one that I
Way up
First
by
one
the
that I
state line.
inspected, if you go east of Lakota, I think it's P 64, go about north 2 miles and then go back west on a gravel road, there's a timber bridge in there, and that was the first one I inspected when I was 1986, when I was hired. So,
We haven't replanked any of them in ages.
at that time, we were using tongue and groove plank, and we were placing them transversely. Some of those we put plank on and put it longitudinally, so those plank didn't curl. So some of those have a little bit extra loading, dead loading on there. So. And I believe that one is one of those.
I remember.
But the plank, treated plank and everything else, they last a long time.
Anything else for construction?
No other construction in the road right away.
How's my bridge coming?
Slow. They're setting beams, they're supposed to be setting beams tomorrow. And tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, we're supposed to have a second crew in today. So they would be pouring, we're thinking in 3 weeks, they'd be pouring concrete deck. So,
Get tired of that gravel road. I know, I'm supposed to go the other way, Doug. Nobody does.
I know.
I seen something odd yesterday. I went to the farm. Semis were on your detour. Okay, they were by Walker's place heading north on your detour. Then they went down the river to Blacktop because I followed one of them. There's 3 of them together hauling something. And when they got to Bob and Trish's road, they went back south again. Why didn't they just stay on the Gallup Blacktop?
Yeah,
That didn't make sense. It was like,
anyway.
oh, the patch jobs, that one on Irvington Road, you ain't no there. The other one's just got a titch of a bump.
Yeah, those turned out pretty nice.
And I talked to Scott yesterday and remove those signs and get that shoulder filled in it.
Yeah.
Did you do the shoulder or they do it?
No, we will.
Oh, it's done. That where they patched it, it's done.
Yeah, we did it. In fact, I think some where they milled that out, I think they used some of the millings to put that shoulder on there to build that up. It's-
I know it hasn't rained, but did you do it? Did you touch up Shays Road at all?
We did, Jack.
Thank you.
The day, I think it was last Wednesday,
Okay,
maybe Thursday,
Thank
but
you.
it did.
Okay.
it was mainly the intersection at 169
Right,
and
that's usually where it's the
the
worst.
intersection over there by the Wajies.
Yeah.
The middle of it was not.
Why is it so bad right at the beginning?
Well, people washboarding, people
Brake.
accelerate and that your wheels spin, so that causes the washboard, your automobile or your pickup starts to hop. Braking is the same way. That's what happens. If you don't accelerate, if you don't brake hard, it will. But that does have a lot of people that use that right in there, especially 169 with B&W, and there's a few houses. But a lot of times, you'll know that there are more aggressive drivers on gravel roads that live at a certain house when those things happen. So, but we got to take care of.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for letting me know about it.
Doug, have you had a chance to look at any of the shoulders? Like we
We have shoulders and we talked about it at Foreman. Right now with construction going on, it's just difficult, but Kyle had brought up that we have some drop offs on some pavements to the shoulders and it does happen this time of year, especially this time of year. But,
Oh, we got stuff driving on the shoulders now.
right.
Yeah,
the
and
equipment
then,
is
and then
using
you,
it.
if it's got a big drop off, then you can be breaking shoulders and stuff. That's why I brought it up, but
When they gonna start shouldering that new blacktop down my area?
19th tomorrow is what they're supposed to start shouldering.
That's what, about 10 inch drop? How much is it?
I mean, it depends on where it's at. There was 3 inches of asphalt put on, but they did some, adjusting for the crown, the slope of the roads. So if that existing pavement had more slope, they had to adjust some things.
I drove on part of that yesterday and I wouldn't wanna take a wagon on those roads.
You want to stay in the middle.
How's it the highways seem like they put some pretty thin layers of it, a first layer of asphalt and the finish coat, but they're not nearly as thick as what we put on blacktop roads. How do they get by with less asphalt?
I don't know if it's less asphalt, Jack, without looking at the plans, but they may not experience where the edges. I mean, we have edges that break,
It just seems like when you see them doing these highways, they put about, it looks like it's only about this much. And then
Inch and a half.
they put about that much on top of it as a
right?
finish
So
coat.
they got 3 inches total,
Yeah.
and that's what we're doing,
Is it? Okay.
yeah. But again, we keep a cross slope, a
Yeah.
crown on that road.
Right.
Why is 18 and 169, you never see the shoulders?
Well,
How come they don't sink down like our blacktops do?
I believe it's a couple of things. First of all, they're at least 12-foot pavements. So if you have a 12-foot pavement, you might not be getting that extra wheel over on the shoulder. The other thing, their shoulders are wider, so a lot of times you see where if they are off on the shoulder, they might have one wheel on pavement and one wheel on shoulder.
Once up by me, the tractor, I put my nose right down the edge of the shoulder.
Right.
So I got
So you-
tools in the grass just about.
Right.
But they have tile alongside the road too, don't they?
Some do, some do not.
Well, their grades were made to have the shoulders. Ours were added too on a lot of roads.
Ours were at it.
That-
I am looking
Ours are a lot steeper.
possibly going to some 12-foot
You get more
wide
slope.
lanes, 24-foot wide pavements. With some higher volume, higher percentage truck traffic.
So they
I'm
gravel.
considering it, but then, naturally that just ends up costing more money, so. But I think that in the long run, especially with the edge drop off that we experience, it would be worth it.
We got some, like the Irvington Road, you don't run that very much on the shoulder, cause there's so much, badger holes.
Yeah,
Oh, they're bad.
we need to get them back to what's.
Yeah, okay.
We gotta find somebody that knows how to trap.
Can't you trap them?
Trap them this time of year. Somebody run over the traps. I don't know, Badger season opens.
On the topic of beaver, Galen just brought that up a minute ago, but I believe there's a dam on the west side of 169 up by Big Six, that little river that comes through there. It's not in a drainage district where it's at. The district ends about a mile to the west. But it's close to the state right of way. I'm not sure if it's in. Previously, there was one that was pretty close, but
Is that where that camper sits by the timber and the grass area? There's always beaver in there.
do you have any contacts with the state or anyone you think I should reach out to that way? Or that you
I'll,
could-
I'll send you, Bertie. I'll send you that contact. To see, he'll get you at least started. Might have to send you to another spot, but
You wanna get rid of them, right, not that far from there, get a hold of Cole Harms, he's a good little beaver trap.
yeah, he's just a half a mile away.
He's on the other side of the section.
Yeah, Casey's away. He's one of
Casey will go trap them.
Yeah, Casey would get him too.
But it's not district area. either. You'd have to have permission from the landowner, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can't go until the first week of November, first Saturday in November, trapping starts, so
That's another one they probably need to get all the trees out of there, so the beaver don't have
that
any.
don't have, I'll take you to a creek right now on the, you know where Hence's Pit is?
Well, that one,
You go straight north of Hence's Pit on that grass, all there is pasture, and there's a dam sitting there waiting for me, and it's made out of grass. So trees don't make dams.
Yeah, we had one by German Valley
And
last
there's
year, all
corn
corn
stalks.
stalks.
Everybody thinks trees only, no.
I guess I'm a believer in that, yeah. I know what you're saying, but. I
Oh,
think
they
it
like
will
their
help. I
sticks.
think it will help.
They like their sticks.
We had people taking their kids out to watch them build the dam by German Valley last year. They'd sit on the bridge and watch the beavers build the dam out of corn stalks.
Like, I was seeing a picture the other day, of this guy's field, oh man, it was about the size of the top floor of this courthouse, beaver got the corn.
Yeah.
Oh, they mowed it off.
Anything else, Doug?
Yes, I'd like to, inform the board, I texted you last Friday. I had an accident in pickup. I was using some poor judgment. I was called up in the morning by a producer. He was planning to pump manure to a field across the road. He was gonna go underneath the road with a cross pipe. There was some sort of an obstruction. I asked a few questions, how long it was gonna take, if anyone else was gonna be affected. And I made the decision, I said, go ahead and put the pipe across the road. And I said, put a couple of trucks on each side of the pipe so that somebody doesn't run into it. So that happened. In the afternoon, I went down to see what was going on. The producer had the whole mile of road blocked off, one truck on the north side where it was impossible to get through. The south side, there was a little gap, and I decided I'd try to make it with the pickup I was driving, which happened to be brand new. Driving around, this is where the truck was at, and his bumper scratched and dented the pickup, which is significant, $5,000 damage if doors needed. But I've made poor judgment, made a couple of decisions, and I just want the board to be aware of that. My fault.
That was after I called you and talked to you about that.
It was, that's one of the reasons I went down there too, to see just what was going on, but,
Well, you're doing your job.
anyway, so, sorry that it happened, I learned from it, and, move on from there. Also, I had, at the end of last week, the people that are painting for the city of Algona called me up. Wondered if we had, with the cold weather, they wanted their paint truck in a stall. I said at the time, I said, we don't have anything that's heated. We have a place that would just be undercover. If you remember last week, I talked about a motor grader that was, we had to pull the engine on because we had some low oil pressure. I'll talk about that here in a little bit. That stall was open. I said, you guys can pull it in, but we're gonna have to have some rent on it. I figured $600 a month, 30 days in a month, $20 a day. So there is a painter truck. They will be painting our roads as well. But, it's been in the thing, I think tonight will probably be the last night, but they are paying rent for that. They did offer that, so. Construction. The Fairville Road is now open. Irvington Bridge we talked about, four-way bridge, we're hauling fill to them today. I would think by the end of the week, everything will be open on that. Or at least passable, let's just put it that way. We'll have, might have to go around some road close. Resurfacing, they should finish up the end of this week with their resurfacing. They will be getting in to do their shouldering, and then they're planning on next week, traffic marking.
You put limestone for a shoulder? Or you put-
Yes, there are some building sites where the landowners would like to have dirt, but for the most part, it's all rock. So there are some building sites where the landowners just said, go ahead and put rock through. So we contact everybody and try to, do what people like, so. The box culvert down in Laverne Township, all the sections were laid and I think they are backfilling that today also, so that won't take very long and they'll be driving over that. The bridge up in Lincoln Township, they just got started on the removal. Reddings are crushing gravel at Rockler's Pit. Right now, they just got a real good start Saturday. And then that DD60 lap 1, have you been up there at all, Kyle? Do you know?
DD60 sub 1,
Sub 1,
yep, what about it?
how is that, or, I think they got started on that, but I don't know how.
They
close
dug
it is.
inspection holes just so that the engineers could go back and design everything for staking, so I believe
Okay, so they really are not,
they're not.
they were
started
just
yet.
going on doing some
Yeah.
thing. Okay, I haven't been up there.
I believe they're gonna be staking Thursday.
Okay,
So, I mean, that would be the earliest potential, but I know the work so far was just for
just some
planning
exploratory.
and exploratory. yeah.
Okay. Ledyard Wind Power, they have one more turbine to build. Kossuth Wind Energy, that phase 2 project, I think there's 9 that have been constructed. They'll be getting,
What's
keep on
it?
working on that.
Let's say more than that, maybe for the euro.
That was yesterday. I don't, that's what I think I counted, so get close to half. Mechanic, Laverne Shop, Lone Rock Shop, and the transfer station are all open, and I'm gonna try to get some interviews to schedule. Getting back to the piece of equipment that had low oil pressure. When we took the pan off and looked at the oil pump, and there's a valve in there that monitors pressure, we found very, very small discs, spheres. It would be spheres, less than a 1/16 of an inch. We started looking at things, and this was out of the Algona shop. We discovered that our oil actually was contaminated with those spheres. And what they did is they would not allow that pressure valve to properly work. It kept it open that much. We contacted our oil supplier. The insurance claim is in.
How many more motors are affected?
The sign truck had that issue. However, it was running low oil pressure. We went and looked at it. Had found the same thing. So we are reviewing that right now, and I don't know, at least 2.
You're gonna drop all the oil in all the trucks that you use the oil out of?
We will be doing that, looking at the filter,
We
looking at the
should.
magnets on the inside and see what's.
Did the filters catch that stuff? Or
No.
it never, it didn't get that far, it didn't get through the system?
There's a screen on the oil pump, and, I mean, you know, it got to the point where it was affecting that pressure valve. We, at this time, don't know how much it has been.
If, when it went through the screen but never got to the filter, that would be the
That's
simplest explanation.
right.
Okay.
And if it did get to the filter would.
Would have caught it, but it never
So
got
we
that
gotta
far.
look at filters
Right.
is what we gotta.
Do we have any sort of filter from our oil supply in the shop? That could have potentially caught it before it went into the engine or not?
No. What happened is, this is they reuse barrels, they don't buy all new barrels. And they figured this barrel was used for something, and so that little shot or whatever it is was still in the oil barrel. As soon as we brought it up and showed our oil supplier, he owned it right away. So we are to continue to monitor the situation and let him know what's going on.
I'm assuming it didn't hurt the motor. They didn't run it that long.
We're making some of those assumptions, but we gotta look till we know, right now it's kind of an unclosed. It's not closed, it's open, so. But that lets you know a little bit what's going on there. Other than that, I do not have any.
Doug, do you just want to talk about me and Doug and I attended the Region 2 RPA Policy
Sure.
Board meeting in Mason City. You just want to talk about that bridge that we had to amend.
Yeah, we amended, and the Board of Supervisors amended it in the program, but there's a bridge that would be, it's a couple miles north of Highway 18 on P64 south of Titanca, the road that runs from Titanca down to Highway 18. That bridge, is being all federally funds. It's using all federal funds. We're going back to using all federal funds in our county bridge projects. When we were reviewing that, we saw an increase in our estimate to a point that we needed to increase our programmed amount so that federal funds would cover everything. So we amended it, the Board of Supervisors amended it, and the policy board for NICOG, which Donnie is a member of, approved of that also. So everything is on. That's supposed to be let in December of this year.
How often's that board meet?
Quarterly, and if there are amendments needed, this was a special amendment.
You're on NICOG?
No, what's the?
See, I'm on NICOG.
This is the Transportation Policy Board for federal funds. They approved
I didn't even know I was on the.
transportation funding and.
I've never
which
attended this
includes
first meeting I've attended.
Some
I
of
didn't
the,
I
bike
didn't know what it
paths,
stands
different
for.
things like that.
So, I don't know.
It
What else you on?
slipped through the cracks. I think our board will have to update that out there too, who's on what
I
committee.
know, we talked
We,
about that.
it's not accurate, so,
All right.
yeah. Anything else, Doug?
I do not have anything.
Let's have a 20-minute break. We got time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Is that all you got left?
I'm 1 to 2 hours.
You're done.
But this is the first meeting you've had.
No, I just got an email by this. What's all about here? Well, you're on the sport. Never knew that before.
Who did it come from?
Chris Diggins from NICOG. I don't know. So I attended.
Well, at least you caught it, saw the email and was able to show up.
Yeah.
About that much clearance, I failed. Don't do a high stuff. Smart.
Brady's clerk coming. Maybe put the brakes on.
Often sometimes this thing stays on, the time that it shuts off. We took all that break, and it's still on.
Should be based on your sleep settings, but
And then another time they'll be during the meeting, it'll go off, you have to touch it again.
there's sleep settings for activity use.
have a couple requests to hand out. Glad you walked by me.
Thanks.
You get a call, Marge, from a Hanselman over by Pack One?
Yeah.
I thought it was Hanselman on the answer of the voicemail. I happen to be in Red Power, and if you call me when you're in a metal building, it don't show the return phone number, and he didn't give me his return phone number. I'll have to look again, I got it wrote down in the tractor.
Don't think.
He's waiting for him to come over and fix the tile that they forgot. Which last time I talked to Dell a couple weeks ago, they wasn't there yet doing it.
Right, he isn't going to wait for stuff to be out of the field.
I'll have to try to find that guy's number and hope he calls me back.
Kyle, you got a couple of repair requests?
Yeah, 49 Harrison, section 18, washout on the tile. And 50 Seneca 32 trees along the open ditch.
Trees in open ditch.
Just a question, how's your washout when I've done the lawn?
Probably been there for a while, I would imagine. Yeah, I don't. I'd be surprised if there's too many this year. Any questions? Otherwise, you guys have in the packet and stuff, obviously, so.
I have a motion for the supervisor to take care of their repair request. I have a motion by Casey, second by Ross.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carried unanimous. Discussion with, you got anything else, Marge? Did you hear anything back from Hudson yet on any of the that we're talking about earlier?
He's supposed to be calling back, but I didn't really know.
Okay.
Um,
When you do, give us a window.
we have that. We letter requested something for her.
Doing the area good on that road.
That attorney that's asking.
So we haven't got that solved yet. Bad.
I went over to the city hall last week and just told him, it says, our only concern is do whatever you want on Finn Drive. That's not our doings, but it says there's drainage district tile there. He says, yeah, we know there's a 10-inch someplace. They just don't know how deep it is or where it's located, but says, well, make sure you check our maps and you find it.
Well, thank you for doing it.
While Marge is here, I had asked Bridget, our insurance agent, to look into why we haven't heard anything on the, was it DD4?
DD7.
DD7 ruling, and she was here for the ICAP walkthrough, and she said she talked to the adjuster. And the adjuster said they're still working. There's a lot to look into, so, they are working on it.
Anything else, Marge? Thank you. We have discussion with our county auditor.
Okay, let's see, next week. Is the 25th.
All week.
Yep, and we have an informal hearing for drain 4 ladder we're gonna get. So I thought that is all we have. And then a reminder, November 8th, which is 3 meetings away, is election day, so we will not be having a board meeting that day. Our office will be busy. So, no board meeting on the 8th. And, okay, then a couple of other things. I told you about budget. Okay, so our DS200s are the machines that we use for our election. we all know that there's been a lot of scrutiny and questions about election security. It's my priority to make sure that we have a secure election. So when I was doing research on our machines, one of the things that we found was instructions from ES&S, who is the company that manufactures DS200s, that there's a way that you can go in and check to see if there's modems. Now, there are counties in Iowa that have modems in their machines. Kossuth County is not one of them, and I do not intend on getting modems in our machines. Those machines that have modems, all machines are air gapped, to prevent any outside access. But ours do not have modems, and I've been getting questions on why do I know that? How have I ever looked at the machine? How can I say that if I've never internally inspected them? So I made a call down to Secretary of State's office and asked if that was something that, like with the sheriff, by me, if that is something we could do, if we could go through each machine and look at them and make sure that there isn't any modems. So I got an email back from her this morning, and actually yesterday, she said that they spoke with ES&S, who's the manufacturers, and they suggested that you contact them before proceeding. In order to not void the warranty on the equipment, you will need to arrange to have an ES&S technician on site for this process. If you want to proceed, call them at this number. And the Secretary of State's office agrees with ES&S's position and would certainly not be in a situation not having a warranty on our election equipment. And then let us know if we choose to proceed, because they want to have an SOS representative on site as well. So before I call them, ES&S, to see, because I want to make sure that we're not compromising the machines, that we're not doing anything that would, hurt the outcome. But before I call them and talk to them, I wanted to get your input and how you feel about that before I go forward with it. I just wanted to know if you had any input or thoughts on it.
Well, I mean, this company that made the machines, can't they just certify that they built the machines? They can't.
They do, they come and do, like inspections and updates and stuff, but the questions that I've been getting is, how do you know what those technicians are doing when they're in there? Because they go in there by themselves, and that's some of the questions that I'm getting, and I want to be able to give people answers to those questions.
Do you know if we are able to take pictures or?
No, you won't be able to
anything
take
like that?
pictures, no.
Okay. I didn't know if we could share that to prove to the
No,
public that it's
no.
not there.
Now, that would definitely be.
I guess my opinion is that you gotta do whatever you gotta do to make sure that the elections are secure. So I mean, I would back you, whatever you decide to do.
Yeah, I'd be 100% behind that.
And I will call them and see what ENS has to say about it. Of course, if it's gonna compromise our machines in any way, then I don't want to do it, but I'll see what they have to say and I'll go from there. One or two of you want to be present, absolutely. For that too, I talked to Roger Fisher, he would like to be present, and I think that's a wonderful idea, so I will call them and see what they say.
Give me a call.
Okay.
Give me a number. The original purchase agreement with the company would list everything that they had, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
If it had a modem, wouldn't it be listed on it?
And it's not. But the concern of the public is that they can be added, which is true, a modem can be added. And
Right.
so their questions are, how do I know that it hasn't been? And that's a legitimate question, because I've never inspected them. So I want to be able to tell them.
I have a hard time that we go through the process like you had one vote last time. Difference, were you one?
Well, three.
Or three or whatever?
We had
You did the hand count and it came out.
And all of our audits have come out perfectly, so
Right.
I would say 95% sure that there is not modems in any of them. But I don't want to tell people that when I haven't inspected them. So I can confidently 100% say that our results have matched since I've been here, because they've matched perfectly when we've done our audits. So that I know, but I just want to make sure I'm giving them correct.
Yeah, just keep pursuing it and see what you can come up with.
Gotta love conspiracists.
I know.
Yeah.
They just make, cost the taxpayer more money with their ridiculous conspiracy theories.
I think the more transparent we can be, the more that helps them, you know.
The more you can answer questions that explain it,
Yeah,
the more comfortable everyone.
They just come up with more. They're never gonna be satisfied.
You got a secure system, cool. We did that, I had Nick as a backer for me on, the jailer, Angie. And cutting bags open, resealing, this, I was like, holy dickens.
It's
It's official.
Yeah.
we're very, very secure about it.
Yep.
Very careful about it. And, you know, we're doing a new training this year that we're starting, that we're gonna go from when they walk in the door, the election workers, they're gonna go to their table like they would on election day, and we're gonna run all the way through it from start to finish. And so we're gonna show them, you know, this is why you count the ballots before, and this is why you count the ballots after. And this is, you know, so that they, a lot of them have been through it, but maybe explaining more of why that's important. Because they take an oath, each one of them has to take an oath at the beginning of the election day. But, you know,
The election workers do.
yes. So,
Well, you're professional, cause you called me that day. How are you related to Barb Casey? It's my deceased first cousin's wife. It's no relation to you. Don't, I mean, you do your homework.
we have to, I mean, that's part of the job, you know, that's important.
You can't find anybody in the county not related to your case.
I got a lot of shirt tails.
Okay, so that's all I had then. I will see what ESNS has to say, and I'll keep you posted.
And, tomorrow at 7:30 in the morning?
Well, Thursday.
Thursday at
Thursday at
7:30.
7:30 for
at the
anybody who can come, and I'll get the pies. And we didn't actually get an award, did we? They didn't actually give us an award, just the pie, right?
Right.
Right.
So I'll just get the pie, and then, I thought Roger might wanna be the one to present it to them.
He's not there.
Okay, you'll do it, yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Plan on it.
yeah,
Sometimes I forget things.
that's all right. Okay, so yeah, 7:30 at the hospital, and, how many of you are planning on coming, so I can let Marie know, or let, Dar know?
2.
2? Are you coming?
I'm hoping to, but
Okay.
I don't know for sure.
Okay, so maybe 3, so and Mia, I won't be there too, so 4. I'll let her know that we'll be there at 7:30 on Thursday. And I put it on the agenda just because it was,
Yeah, he's gonna ask a question, this and that.
yeah. So, okay, that's all I have.
Kyle, anything you'd like to report on?
I did not have any committee meetings.
You was at the Bancroft ambulance meeting.
You want to report on that? For me?
You can-
I mean, it was there's a lot of, questions about EMS. Some of them were answered fairly simply or standard, I guess, and some of it was included in Phil's presentation already. There was many references to the decision between Bancroft and Sway City for the Northern Hub location. That was a little bit of a tense portion of the topic, as it was in the boardroom previously. Overall, I think, just like the other presentations, got a lot of good information out there. Could inform people what was actually going on. There was concern about a lack of a clear plan, because Phil had shared the anticipated dollars and potential staffing that would entail under that. And they had asked if there was any changes that would be made to that prior to when it actually happened. And he said there could be minor tweaks, but mostly it would be as it was presented.
Okay.
And the minor tweaks got transferred into, oh, we're not really certain, so, of the plan, so I don't,
Yeah, come on.
I don't know what you do about that because it's the same as our county budget. You're planning a year plus in advance. It's gonna change a little bit. You got a general concept and general plan, but you have to have some sort of wiggle room, so. I don't know. It was, that was a long
I'm not
meeting,
used to
but
it. I don't have one, so.
So you're just going over the hour, you know,
what's that?
Phil's been allowing an hour, so whatever that.
Because
Well over that.
That
and
don't make sense.
Well over double.
Mr. Casey,
I had people call me on the roads and the drainage questions, I got old Scotty yesterday, got two of the things resolved, and we had the forum last Tuesday night, which I thought went well, except they asked about EMS and I rattled off the budget. And then the last question, they closed to us is about 30 minutes later, what's the EMS budget? And she called my name first. I'm looking at her. I got a blank. I don't know. I just got done rattling it 30 minutes before. But,
yeah,
and then I got wellness tomorrow.
You guys got done with that before we got done in Bancroft.
yeah,
It was only about an hour and 15 maybe, wasn't it?
we had almost 2 hours.
You
I would
didn't,
say all of two.
you didn't have to be at the forum, Kyle?
No, and they said even if I had been there, all they would have done is announce my name. So, I mean,
Because you had no.
Like
it
if,
wasn't really worth driving to Algona for that, in my opinion.
yeah, 'cause if I didn't show up, they couldn't ask Carter now.
Oh, really?
Cause that ain't fair, cause they don't know what my opinion was. Or same as Donnie and Josh. If one of them wouldn't have showed up, the other one couldn't ask the question. They just sit there and look pretty.
I should have known that because that's why we canceled them when I was running, was because a couple people had COVID and couldn't be there. So.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize that until this one I asked. Whatever, and like, nope, can't say anything, no opening, closing statement, nothing. Like, well, I don't need to have my name read off for that, so.
We'll just call
Plus
you
the Bancroft
Joe
meeting.
Biden now. You're hid in the basement.
Well, Bancroft EMS meeting is obviously a lot more important than having my name read off on the radio.
Donnie?
Oh, like I mentioned, when Doug was in here, we went to the Region Two RPA Policy Board meeting, a couple of the other highlights in that were, in 2025, it sounds like they're gonna do Highway 18 from Algona to Sexton. You know, which will be the passing lanes, turning lanes, Super Two Highway, whatever they wanna call it,
And when?
2025. And then,
So are they not doing that altogether from the other Super Two portion? I thought they were doing that all.
They just keep going in steps, you think. So there's gonna be a middle part that don't have it.
yeah, there'll be a part from Sexton to Wesley that will be done.
I think they do that first.
That's what she said.
Okay, that's interesting.
And then they spent, the state spending 51 million for charging stations on highway, Interstate 35 and 80.
Right.
51 million?
Mm-hmm.
And they gotta pay for the charges, all right?
Right.
Cause I heard that parking on Algona, that's what.
And this was new to me. I found out there's 3 different chargers.
Correct. You basically got 110, 220, and 660.
Right.
And the 660 is the only one that'll charge in an hour.
Rapid, yeah.
Yeah. The 220 with an hour does about 100 miles.
Yeah, it wasn't very far.
It isn't very far,
Oh,
but the 660 takes a big transformer and a lot of infrastructure. And I doubt you see a lot of them built, even though the state's supplying the money, because you've got to be pretty close to a substation or a line that has that much capacity.
yeah. And then they talked about, because this is the whole region. They talked about Mason City, the old Highway 18. And this is several years down the road, but all their stoplights will be gone. They'll all be roundabouts.
Really?
They can't do it in town because they'd have to take too many businesses out.
No, but in town,
In town?
yeah.
They're gonna do roundabouts?
Nope.
They'll do worse than Bloor.
I don't think they're that bad. You just gotta get ready to hit the brake, put your foot on the gas.
I don't know. Jack?
just, I mentioned, went over to City Hall, and told them to check for our tile. I thought I had a Board of Health meeting last Wednesday, but I was off a week. It's tomorrow.
I guess I went to Bancroft and I went to Lakota for the ambulance service. A lot of questions in Bancroft, like Kyle said. I think they still would like the hub to be in Bancroft instead of Sway City. And, you know, you can see why. It's good for the town. Lakota, not a lot of questions, some. Went over well in Lakota, no negative comments.
Well, and that was kind of one of Phil's point is the communities that have a service that can handle calls, whether it's all of them or not, the towns that have a decent service are the ones that aren't begging for this. And that's 5 out of 12 communities. The other 7 out of 12 have little to no coverage, and they're all the ones that need the backup.
Well, I think even Bancroft, they say they're burned out. The ones that are on the ambulance crew.
Well, on one hand, they say they're burned out. On the other hand, they want the help there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it is both, but
And I forgot to mention, that was a really good letter to the editor in the Algonah paper on EMS last week.
That was 2 of them.
Really good letter.
Yeah, both of them were good.
Mhm.
And isn't the reason we kind of decided the Sway City Hub was because they had more volunteers, they were able to staff it.
and 2 trucks, and they were willing to put in sleeping quarters and all that stuff. I mean, but a lot of it came down to the personnel side of it.
Right.
And supposedly, one of the comments that was made was that paramedics are saying Sway City's truck won't leave without the paramedic being there because they don't have enough people. And people that are there don't agree with that statement, and I don't know if it's employees that are trying to make themselves sound better, or if it's certain occasions, or what the actual issue is, but there's rumors floating around that makes people in Bancroft think this Way City doesn't have the volunteers that they say they do.
Also, you gotta realize that Algonah is running the ambulance system right now. We're not, we don't know all the answers and we don't know all the questions even. So. Tomorrow I got a drainage meeting in Spencer. And I got questioned about the 4-way bridge again, how come that wasn't done yet, a few things like that. But it's all coming.
Oh, and I did talk to the Highway 169 bridge north. There's nobody working there. They lost all their employees is what I was told yesterday.
What?
No, that was done.
Oh, no.
I thought
Doug
it
had
just
said
didn't hit
middle of
the-
the next month, though.
He thinks they're still gonna have it done by the time
I thought it was because the
Winter rolls
concrete
around.
didn't meet, so they had to sit for the concrete.
they
but
lost their employees.
I heard the same thing, but I can't confirm that. There's nobody there. Yeah. There's nobody there working on it.
Well, that's sad.
Well, this burn ban, what if the guy wants to burn a fence or burn something?
Yeah,
No,
you can't.
You can't get the fire chief to come out and look and see where you're gonna burn and get the permission.
no, you can't burn off set aside either.
I thought something on the radio that you could, if there was you could get a hold of, they could, no, there's no.
No, you can't. It's actual in the code that if the fire chief issues you a permit,
You can burn it.
yes.
But once you burn, everybody else will burn.
Well, but they have to have a permit from the fire chief.
Cause the day that it went into effect on Tuesday and that Saturday, I seen 2 fires. But I talked to the one person about it. He was, "What are you talking about?" I said, "We're in a burn ban. You can't, well, I don't listen to the radio." "You're in a burn ban. You want me to put it out?" I said, "Well, yeah, better."
Yeah, we're burn ban. It is dry.
Oh, should go. And this year, I don't know about why is there so much fodder out there? You don't combine, it's just like extra this year.
Well, nothing,
Because it's dry.
nothing broke off on the top yet either. You know, normally the tops of the corn breaks off. Pretty sure it's all going through the combine.
There's a lot of stuff out there.
And, yeah, way too much.
If you catch a field on fire, it'd be it'd go quick.
Anything else come before the good of Kossuth County?
Nope.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and second to adjourn. Anybody disagree with that? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
For some reason. What's that? She don't want to coat for some reason. That's when you put your coat on.
Cool now. I gotta get my winter jacket out.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
I had a winter coat on yesterday outside.
It was 19 degrees on my way to work this morning.
You won't need it this weekend.
It's gonna be warm.
Yes.
It's never been again.